Hey, I'm Randy Younger, New York City's go-to film enthusiast. Every week I dive deep into the world of cinema with special guests from the New York City film scene. Whether I'm interviewing industry insiders or comparing the latest releases, there's always something for every movie lover. Join me as I explore the magic of film and discover what makes these movies unforgettable. Hey guys, I'm Randy Younger in another episode of Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together one frame at a time. And this is actually a very bittersweet episode because tonight we are honoring the late great actor and artist, Mr. Val Kilmer, who sadly passed last week. And I just felt it was more than appropriate to honor this fantastic actor's career and life with some of my favorite critics. So we've got Erica A. Erica, how you doing?
Hey Randy, glad to be back.
Welcome, welcome. And Rachel Kolb and Eric Godfrey, welcome back, guys. Hmm.
Hey,
Really happy to be here. Happy to talk about great actor.
Seriously, he wasn't like a standard leading man. He was a leading man, but there was something deeper there. There was, I don't, it's like an indescribable quality that made him such a unique star. And he started in theater and basically transitioned to TV and film. His first film was in 1984 called Top Secret, a really ridiculous parody spoof from the Zucker brothers. And that is basically what launched his film career. He did over 100 movies after that. And today we're actually going to discuss just a couple of his most notable films. And just, to jump right in, because we don't have a lot of time, unfortunately, I want to honor this man as best as possible. And I think we're going to go back to 1988 for a wonderful fantasy adventure film, Willow. And I've actually asked my guest critics tonight to talk about their favorite films. And Rachel, I believe Willow is your choice tonight. So take it away.
Yes, this is my choice. I know that for a lot of people of my generation, they grew up watching Willow. This was something that they had a lot of nostalgia attached to. Strangely enough, I did not actually see Willow until I was an adult. It was actually only, I believe, a few years ago. It was before the Disney Plus series
yeah.
came out, before they had announced the Disney Plus series. But that was my first introduction to Willow was actually watching it on Disney Plus.
Mm.
And this movie just like instantly grabbed my heart. I love it for so many reasons, and I think a very big part of that is Val Kilmer's performance in it.
Yeah.
Because he really plays this. There's a very stock role in fantasy stories about like the sort of lone warrior type, the maybe like a bit of a rogue that it's like doesn't quite play by the rules, that sort of character, that it's like, is he good? Is he bad? We're not quite sure. Like your Han Solos and your Jack Sparrows. And the thing is that you don't get some of these more modern ones like Jack Sparrow without Mad Mardigan. It doesn't happen. I think it's such a great portrayal because it's so funny, and it also has like this sadness that comes through at points, particularly when people question his character and like question the fact that it's like, oh, you're a thief, and that he gets like legitimately very upset about that you can see that coming through. And the fact that he does have a good heart, that
Right.
he might not always get things right, but that he's always trying. And I think that's what for me actually in retrospect makes him better in some ways than some of these other versions of the rogue character,
Yeah.
because he just like in one movie brought that degree of depth and um nuance to this character. Not to mention he's just really like he's at the top of his game there. He's like he's sword fighting and he's so like very attractive. Um,
He is.
honestly, yeah, like it's
The
just
long hair and the open shirt.
mhm,
It's just,
I was gonna say
yeah.
when
of
he's got
course.
the love potion and reciting the
Yes.
poetry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like you also get something that you don't always get, at least not initially, um,
Mhm.
with like a character like Han Solo, you don't really get like the sort of romantic turn until like later on in the trilogy. But for this one, you just have the one movie, and he manages to do that entire sort of arc from the loner the um to being like very much in love with this woman, like
Yeah,
having a like enemies to lovers arc in one movie.
right.
Again, just like really speaks to the level of charisma that he brings to the role.
And speaking to the love interest in Willow, that is the actress is Joanne Whaley, who was his actual real life wife after the film. They were together for a number of years, and I think they had one child together, maybe two,
Like
definitely one.
two.
Children,
Was it
yep.
both? Okay.
I think both, yeah.
And yeah, I think they actually met even before Willow in their theater circles.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's really nice because it's the attraction is very real in the movie, which I love.
Mhm.
And Rach, you mentioned that his character is a rogue, very Han Solo-like, very kind of you don't know which direction he's going to go in. Is he heroic? Is he a jerk? But there's no one else around basically, so he has to fill that heroic role. So it's a really good performance. I wish there was more of him in it, but fantastic film. Willow's a classic, and also I want to mention directed by the great Ron Howard and produced by George Lucas uh,
Yep.
with a fantastic score by James Horner. So it's got a lot
Yeah.
going for, and Warwick Davis, of course, the wonderful Warwick Davis. It's just a really good movie that you don't really hear a lot about, and I don't think the Disney Plus series did it justice at all. But that's a separate
Yep.
episode.
And we'll agree to
Yeah.
disagree about that one.
Oh, okay,
I
But
personally really like this
and
fair
it
enough.
was also,
I,
and I enjoyed the series too, and I also did appreciate the fact that the series, unfortunately weren't able to get him back for the reasons because he was having throat, but they still were able
yes.
to honor him
Yep.
Right.
by in a way in the series.
Yeah. So mixed reviews from my end, but but yeah, the original Willow, it's great. It's a great film for kids. I think it's very family friendly. If you want to see something that's not Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, it's kind of like right in between those two universes. So
Um,
it's pretty good.
I was gonna say, my brother and I grew up on it when we were kids, so
You did good. I like you, Rachel. I saw it later on in life as an adult, and I was still mesmerized by it. So
Mhm.
it's a good pick. Thank you for picking that one for sure. Um, all right, moving along here, we're gonna go to 1993 now, and this is Eric's pick, and it is the Western Tombstone All-Star cast.
mhm.
Fantastic film. Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, Powers Booth. You've got a fine score by Bruce Broughton.
Yeah, I grew up on westerns. My dad, John Wayne, was one of his favorites, so it was the western was always there. And when it comes to that, Tombstone, I think, is one of the best westerns ever. Um, I think that is one of those things where you get an all-star cast and just one of the finest scripts that I can think of. There is no line of that movie that is not iconic. And in an all-star cast, like in a movie where they put Sam Elliott as one of the herbs, and you have Kurt Russell and every best mustache anyone could find.
Right.
Every great mustache is on display in Tombstone.
Looks like who was able to grow their mustache in and who looks like their
There,
mustache gets
Yeah.
glued on,
there,
though.
there was
That's
a
It
competition.
was the no shave, no
yeah.
shave over here, I think it is. Yeah.
But in the midst of this amazing cast and script,
Hmm.
Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday is one of the
Mhm.
all-time greatest Western characters, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because it was around the same time that Kevin Costner did his Wyatt Earp with it was
Right.
Dennis Quaid as his Doc Holliday, but from
Hmm.
the fact that like the makeup being made Val Kilmer looked like he was constantly on the verge of death with Doc
Mhm.
Holliday having tuberculosis, but he was a man that was of an old generation, this old Southern charm who escaped West
Hmm.
and was just knew that his days was limited and
Hmm.
was living life to the absolute fullest, and
Right.
yet was still the best friend you could possibly find. And every line of dialogue that he has is golden.
Right.
And from everybody's favorite, the I'm Your Huckleberry, to just like Johnny Ringo, it's just like everything. You could not ask for a more iconic character in just So it's like you have one of the best westerns, and
Right.
then Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer's performance is one of the most iconic I can ever think.
And his performance is really great because he actually incorporated those actual tricks, like with the coin along his
Yeah.
fingers,
Yep.
the gun slink, the guns twirling, and I believe he actually studied piano to play a Chopin piece.
Yep.
So he
Mm.
was really dedicated to that movie, and
Yeah.
it's a testament to his his brilliance as an actor. He really
Yeah. And
knocked it out of the park.
yeah. And again, like I said in the script, and it's like one of the things that just absolutely shines about Tombstone is the relationship between Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday.
Mm.
It is the core of that movie, and it's the reason why it's just I've revisited it so many times, and I will continue to, because it's just like when it comes to best westerns, I cannot think of one that I enjoy more than Tombstone.
Right. And I agree. So, and also, this was during a time in the mid 90s where Westerns were basically had a resurgence.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And last time we discussed Gene Hackman's career, we mentioned The Quick and the Dead, which is just 2 years after Tombstone.
Mhm.
There was also Wyatt Earp, you mentioned. Bad Girls was also one of them. And there was a couple
I
others.
think Unforgiven was
Young
also one of that
Guns,
time.
Billy the Kid.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think maybe Unforgiven kicked it off in 92, that whole
Mhm.
trend. But Tombstone just fell right in there and it was so
Yeah.
well, we needed that movie. It was so good.
Right. And
And
it is fascinating to me that it was around the same time that Costner's Wyatt, that you basically had two Wyatt Earp movies
I know
competing for the spotlight.
I know, and I remember as a kid, I saw the posters in the subway. Like, why are there two movies of the same character? This is confusing to me. But anyway, uh, Tombstone's fantastic, and I rewatched it the other night. It's very action packed. I don't remember that much gunplay the first time I saw it, and I wanted more Bill Paxton. I thought he was painfully underused. I think
Hmm.
Sam Elliott's mustache had a lot of good screen time.
Hmm.
And I know that Val Kilmer in the last scene, well, spoiler alert, I mean, whatever, he was dying and he actually requested the production to fill his bed with ice to make it look like he was actually s- suffering and in pain. And that's what informed his performance in that one scene. So again, very dedicated to the craft. And
Very.
yeah, fantastic film. All right. So I think Erica, you're up with a film that a movie that a movie that pretty much introduced me to Kilmer and his brilliance. However, I don't think he was used properly in this, but
I don't think that it was more that people weren't ready for a change.
right. And your film, of course, is 1995's Batman Forever. So
Mhm.
take it away.
Batman 3.
Batman 3,
Well,
yes.
yeah, I'm just saying, in case second Batman, Michael Keaton walked away from the role, and everyone loved Michael Keaton, but Val Kilmer really brought his version of Batman to life. And I've watched it in retrospect,
Hmm.
and I can see so much in it that there is a lot of Batman. It's an amazing movie that does introduce Robin finally. It has a bit of the two Tim Burton movies and it moves away from it a little. Val Kilmer's Batman brings all three personas to life. He has public Bruce Wayne, he has actual suffering Bruce Wayne where he sort of says nothing and then he's Batman.
Yeah.
And I think that he does well with Uma Thurman. I think he does well with Chris O'Donnell, and I even enjoy him with the villains. Though he has very little screen time with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey.
Right.
I mean, I think that it is a great movie for him. It really brought him into the public eye, and a movie as a whole. It's really hard to pick one Val Kilmer movie to pick and talk about, but
Right.
this one does belong up there with all the ones that we have mentioned so far. He looks good in the suits. He looks good in the bat
Yeah.
suit, even if it's a lot of padded up things. And he delivers the lines so well. One of my favorite parts are the part where he finally realizes he has to be Batman. And he returns to the Batcave and he's like, Alfred, what am by sea or by air? And he finally makes peace with the fact that Chris O'Donnell is Dick Grayson, but he's also gonna be Robin. And he's like, looking, and Alfred's like, I took the liberty, sir. And so they agree they're going to be a partnership. and they finally reach the island, and we get the line that a child doesn't understand, but I grew up on the old Batman, and he plays straight man so well as Robin gets to go, "Holy rusted metal, Batman!"
Uh,
And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "The ground, it's made of metal and full of holes, holy."
See, scenes like that scene it always made me cringe. But
Why?
even as a kid, I'm like, what? This is so corny. But no, I'm sorry, Erica, but it's not. It's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's
I mean, it's
flashy.
not the best Batman movie of its year,
It's,
even, but it's
No,
still a fun movie.
it is fun.
to
It
be
is a
fair,
fun movie, and in retrospect, as I said, he just got the short end of the stick so bad because everyone was so attached to Michael Keaton, and
yeah,
we didn't get a
yeah,
second chance to
agreed.
really get used to him in the role.
agreed.
Yeah, it would have
I
been
think
another
Kilmer was
movie.
an okay choice. I think he was a very good Bruce Wayne, but when he was in the suit, you can't tell because he's a really dedicated actor.
Yes,
When you're in that suit, you're not really acting, you're just being. And that's what
but
really,
that's what you have to be. You have to be able to not react. You have to
Yeah.
live the suit.
I think Keaton brought a little bit more to the role, honestly. He was a little more physical. I,
Well, I think Keaton brought the introduction of what Batman was supposed to be in a new generation.
yeah,
Now that you're not wearing this like weird thing that with underpants that go up to here
right.
and the belt that's like this thick going around your whole torso.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. So I just rewatched the Val documentary, and he was talking about his experience with Batman.
Yeah, he found it a very awkward experience because he
Yeah,
couldn't hear anything.
he
He was
couldn't
captive.
hear, he couldn't move. It was like it was very
Yeah.
uncomfortable, it seemed.
But
And
even Michael Keaton in documentaries has talked about that every day they had to literally tear the suit off of him
it's
because
all
it was just put on him.
Yeah.
they really should fix that. The costume department needs to find new ways of making the
I
acting.
Well,
think the Batman
that was
has
what
solved that.
the Nolan ones were about, was finally finding a suit that you could move in.
Right.
But I, I,
The
Oh
I
neck.
no,
think
only his neck. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but
as
I
Randy was
think something has
demonstrating.
to be said about the fact that Batman Forever is the only Batman movie where Bruce Wayne finally goes to therapy.
Okay. That's a good point. And he definitely needs it. He needed it as a kid, especially, but I don't know why Alfred didn't take him. I mean,
Because he
Yeah.
didn't, he was in charge. He was the employer. I think Gotham explains that very well. That in the fourth season, when Alfred questions Bruce's state of mind, he fires him for part of the season.
yeah, it's ridiculous. That's okay. So Batman Forever, I'm going back. I was 10 years old when it came out. I was super excited to see it. I remember some of you probably remember the Warner Brothers Studio store, how
Mhm.
they would
Yes, I
have
do.
they would flash they had a big screen in every store and they would always play on loop the Batman Forever trailer. And I had the toys. I was really into it. I finally
I
saw it.
have a glass. I should have brought, oh, I almost did. Oh well. But
Oh, it's
I
all right.
think that the movie is far more than people look at it. I think that
Yeah.
even though Jim Carrey was a little too Jim Carrey, he brought so much Frank Gorshin to the role.
Mm,
I think Val Kilmer brought the persona of Bruce Wayne and Batman in his own way because he's such a dedicated actor that this movie does do Batman justice the way some movies can't.
right. I want to give a shout out actually to Tommy Lee Jones, who was
Mhm.
really good, even though he was
One of
kind
the
of
most
mirroring
interesting.
Jack Nicholson a little bit. But I wanted a lot more of Harvey Dent and that backstory and his transformation. I know they show a flashback where they're in
But
court.
that's never what movies are about. He's the villain. It's never his story.
I
He is
know,
the
but I
boy.
would have loved that. I thought he was a
Well,
very colorful
which we
character.
get the flash, we get his early backstory in the
Yeah,
original Batman. They just happened to recast him.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
all right.
I feel
So,
badly like for Val Kilmer, considering that his background was in theater.
mhm,
I
Mhm.
imagine that it was really difficult for him, especially in the role of Batman, to be in a suit where he couldn't hear his co-stars
Yeah.
yeah,
and couldn't properly, like, it's the whole thing of like acting is react.
exactly.
That I'm sure that he's someone that was very much wanting to know what his scene partners were doing and be
Yeah.
present in the scene.
He's a real actor, and he's when he's in that suit, he's not really acting. It's sad. And that's why he didn't do Batman and Robin. Um,
No, I thought why he didn't do it was because of the scheduling issue.
well, maybe
He
that too.
originally signed on and then they pushed it back and he said, "Oh God, it was such a horrible memory. I'm busy now. If you
No,
can't make."
I don't. And in addition to that, I don't think he had a good experience on Batman Forever. So
Yeah, he just goes, "Oh no, is my schedule won't work?
yeah,
Oh, what will I
right.
do? Oh, I'm gonna go do something else now."
Whatever. Well, all right. So that's Batman Forever, and it's an acquired taste. It's got mixed reviews.
It does, but I still worth mentioning.
Yeah, yeah.
It
It's what
it
made
has
me
a charm.
aware of Kilmer. And actually, same year as Heat, which was also a very popular
Mhm.
film
Mhm.
of his too. All right. So my film, we're gonna fast forward 10 years to 2005, and this one came out of left field a little bit. It's called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and it is a crime comedy, which is basically in the style of the old pulp crime novels of the 40s through 60s. And it stars Robert Downey Jr. as a hapless thief who gets sucked into this world of Hollywood and glitz and glamour, and basically is hired to star in a movie. And to be in this movie, he needs to be trained by an actual private detective. And this character, Gay Perry, is played by Val Kilmer, and he's just brilliant. Kilmer is great in this role. He's sarcastic, he's funny, he's it's an action-packed movie too. I did not expect this movie for what it was. It was fantastic, and it had a great tone about it too. Actually, it was written and directed by Shane Black, and yeah, it's just a fun ride. Also, Michelle Moynihan is in it. She's the love interest who gets swept up in this mystery, and yeah, again, Kilmer was fantastic. I loved his performance. Are you guys familiar with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
I
Yes,
love
yes.
that.
Yeah.
Him,
Hmm.
Cool.
Kilmer and Downey have
Yeah.
such amazing chemistry together. Like
Hmm.
you have one of Shane Black's smartest scripts, like just shy of probably Nice Guys. And the two of them are so good. And Kilmer has some of the best, has
Yeah.
one of my favorite insults of all time in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Let's spoil us.
The what do you know when you look up stupid in the dictionary, what you see? No, the definition of stupid, Mitchell.
He had just like the one-liners were like rapid fire. They were coming
Mm,
and it was fantastic.
And the delivery is so brilliant in it.
Yeah, he was perfectly cast. I can't
yeah.
think of a better actor to been in this with.
It's Shane Black has always been a person who all of his movies have always depended on the chemistry between his two
Hmm.
leads,
Right.
whether it's Lethal Weapon or again
Yeah.
Nice Guys. And Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, yeah, Downey and Kilmer are so perfect against each other.
Yeah. It's just, and it goes back to Shane Black's previous film, which he, I think, co-wrote or wrote the whole script for Lethal Weapon, which
Mhm.
Yeah.
was
Yep.
also kind of a very similar styled buddy action comedy.
Yeah,
So,
set the gold standard for what a buddy cop movie should look like.
yeah. So I'm really happy about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's a lot of fun. I think this was
Mhm.
also the first movie or one of the first couple movies that Downey Jr. did after becoming sober.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and this was like what 3 years before Iron Man. So this was a very interesting time for his career.
Yeah, yeah, this is when he was trying to mount his comeback.
Yeah, and it worked. He
Mhm.
he bounced back. So good for him. And now he's one of the highest paid. I think he's the highest paid actor working right now. So Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a fun one. I rewatched it just a couple hours ago today, and it was just a lot of fun. We actually have a few minutes left, and I wanted to do some honorable mentions. Like, are there any? I mean, he's done
Right.
so much,
Well,
so many great
yeah, I
films.
was gonna say you brought it like I think one of the things that was always great about Kilmer was the ability to be going back and forth between such serious acting and
Hmm.
comedy. Like you said,
Hmm.
getting started with Top Secret, or even just
Yeah.
how great he is as the straight man. Ironically
Yeah.
enough, in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and
Or
uh,
in MacGruber.
yeah, or yeah, McGrew as the villain of MacGruber. Like I think he was one of those people that he took every role he could. He treated it very seriously
Right.
always
And
threw
he did
himself
so
into
many
it.
iconic roles too. I mean,
Yeah,
no one here oddly mentions Top Gun, which I think
yeah,
for most people is the
Mhm.
very definition of what they think of when they think of Val Kilmer.
yep. Iceman.
And
And I felt that it was so important that they brought him back, even as his health was so poor, that he was able to do those small few scenes and given the proper end in Top Gun 2, a movie that never needed to be made. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm not even sure it has a plot. The plot is
right,
they're going
right,
to fly really fast and they're going to go up at the final moment.
Maverick's got to
right,
fly good.
Mhm.
Yes, but Val Kilmer in Top Gun and Top Gun 2,
right.
Mhm.
so worth mentioning.
Iceman,
Absolutely.
fantastic. And
Mhm.
yeah, Top Gun Maverick was sadly his final appearance on screen,
Right.
and they digitally altered his voice just a bit, but he used his
Yeah.
actual voice, and they basically covered up the raspiness a bit, and
Yeah.
that was a beautiful scene. That's like the only scene I remember from the movie. So, but yeah, Top Gun Maverick is fantastic. Also, The
Yeah.
Doors, fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
a brilliant performance, brilliant movie. I actually saw it for the very first time 2 nights ago, and this is an epic, I'd say. It's a character study of Jim Morrison and the Doors and the time period, the '60s, rock and roll era. It's fantastic. Oliver Stone directed it. It's got a great ensemble cast, and yeah, I thought he was fantastic, and he was very motivated to do the role. I believe
Right.
he sang, or
Hmm.
he practiced a lot. I think he practiced a musical instrument and singing for the role. And he basically, I actually heard that he went to the old hangouts of Jim Morrison's to basically get into character. So another strong evidence that he was dedicated to the craft.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, if I could
Mhm.
chime in also
yeah.
with a an honorable mention that I cannot believe I almost forgot. I'm so glad that I checked his IMDb page because I would have forgotten this. He did the voice of Moses in The Prince of Egypt and also did the voice of God, which I know that when we mentioned Gene Hackman also got to do the voice of God at one point.
That's
So,
right. And let's see if
I was going to say
any
you
other.
brought up Heat earlier, which
Oh,
one
he.
of the greatest heist movies of all
Mhm.
time. Yeah, I mean it's the thing of Val Kilmer. Kind of, it's hard to stand out when you have the final, like finally having Pacino and De Niro on screen together. But I still think Val Kilmer does a great part of the ensemble in Heat.
Yeah, he holds his own against these two acting giants, and
Hmm.
it's like he belongs with them. He belongs there.
Mhm.
It's fantastic.
Maybe the
Uh,
Saint.
And
this,
I was going to say, even just the documentary that he put out just recently, the one where he filmed it and talked about his life, where his
yeah,
son provided the narration for his voice, is a great just examination of his life and career.
that is. I actually just right before we started recording, I did rewatch Val, and it's actually on. It's streaming on Prime Video right now, guys. Whoever's listening and watching, please check out this documentary because it's a beautiful. It's what we're doing now, basically. It's an
Yeah.
exploration
Well,
of his life.
So if
Real.
you're squeamish at times, it does get a little real.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear him talk after the
Uh-huh.
yeah.
tracheotomy, it is
But
heartbreaking.
I
But
think one of the most interesting things about it was the fact that he got to film it, he got to write it, narrate, and everything.
Yes.
And there's so much, especially at the end, about his relationship with the fans and kind of how they've honored him and what they've all seen as his contribution to pop culture and to
yeah.
film and everything, and kind of his relationship with that. I think that's what the documentary is the most interesting is him being able to
Yeah.
see himself through the various fandoms that have popped up around him in his movies.
Kilmer, he will be missed, but he
Yes.
left behind a great legacy. I also wanted to share a quote, actually, that Roger Ebert said a couple years back before he passed. If there is an award for the most unsung leading man of his generation, Kilmer should get it. Before we go, I think we have like a minute left for some plugs. Erica, is there anything you're working on now?
Um, Working on a few things now that everything's sort of switched around, but I'm still trying to hear back from people, and unfortunately, lots of things say no. So nothing right now, but I'm out here and I'm looking for new projects.
Sounds good.
Yeah, well, hit me up. You could on Facebook or email me erica.a@hotmail.com.
Rachel, Eric, anything on your end?
You can always find our sweet dog,
Oh,
Dobby, who is napping right now. You can find him on
Oh,
Instagram at Dobby the House Doggo. You can find my baking Instagram at Second Act Bake Shop. Um, and yeah, watch Willow. Watch Val Kilmer's work. But look up
watch.
clips of him doing Mark Twain.
Yes.
Also for me, if you want to check out new episodes of Under the Radar, check out Slam Radio through SiriusXM channel 145, and that's every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and again Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Also, the video version of this episode will appear on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And also, feel free to subscribe and share to the Under the Radar YouTube channel. So, Erica, Rachel, Eric, thank you so much. This was wonderful. I think we did Mr. Kilmer justice tonight, and I wish him and wherever he is all the best, and his family all the best. Uh,
Yep.
so, guys, thank you. And I'm Randy Younger. This has been Under the Radar, bringing movies and people together, one frame at a time. We'll see you next time. Take care.